Class 9 student, this is Neha saying again I'm back with the same chapter, the next part. In the previous video, we have learned about the force, the effects of force, the types of forces, and the laws of motion, how we get to introduce through the laws of motion by the Galileo's observation. And what about the first law of motion, that is law of inertia, which states that whether an object is at rest or it is moving uniformly in a straight path, so it will not change its state of rest or state of motion until or unless an external force applies on it. So why we are calling the law of inertia? Because the tendency of an object to remain at its state of rest, this tendency is known as inertia, and that's why the first law of motion is also known as the law of inertia. It depends on the mass of an object and it's of three types. We have learned about the example also. Now, before proceeding to the second law of motion, we should know what momentum is. Momentum is something that defined as the product of its mass and velocity. You know very well what mass is, that the kg, the matter contained in a body, and the velocity, the speed with the direction, that the unit is meter per second. So the SI unit will become the meter kg meter per second of the momentum. The mass is momentum of a body. It's the quantity of a matter that is contained in a body when it is moving. So this is the momentum. So momentum would be equal to mass into velocity, where P, we denoted the momentum by the P, the small p, mass with the small m, and velocity with the v. So final formula for the momentum will be P is equals to mv. So momentum, again the SI unit will become kg meter per second, which I have already told you. And the second law, which we have already read about the line, that what is the second law? Second law states that the rate of change of momentum of an object, it is directly proportional to the applied unbalanced force on the object in the direction of the force. Means the mass into velocity, that momentum, it is directly proportional to the force of unbalanced force that is applied on an object. How it is applying, actually you can see the ball is here. When the cricketer tries to catch a ball, so you always observe that it draws back its hand back. Why? Because when a ball is having some mass and it is coming on the fielder's hand with some velocity, so the momentum is very high at that moment. So to decrease the momentum instantly at zero, so what will come? It will hurt the hands of the player. But when it will take time, so it goes back, so that it will take time, and the momentum will not become instantly zero, and the hands of the player will not get hurt. So let's see the mathematical formulation of the second law of motion. What states that? So the first law is rate of change of momentum. Firstly, we need to know what is rate of change of momentum. Rate of change of momentum means when we talk about the rate, that means it will talking about upon time, means according to the time. So change of momentum is the initial momentum will be the mv, and the final momentum will change to the m1 v1. You will consider it, okay? Or we can say that the initial momentum will be the initial velocity, mass will remain the same, mu, or the final velocity will be mv, the mass being the same, right? So rate of change of momentum, the change of momentum will be the final momentum minus the initial momentum. What does it become? The changes in it. So the change is p2 minus p1, that is the final minus initial momentum. The final momentum is mv and initial momentum is mu. So we can say that mv minus u, it is the change in momentum. But we will talk about the rate of change of momentum, that is according to the time. And if we remember from the first motion of equation, v is equals to u plus at, we can counteract that a is equals to v minus u upon t. So m will become, now the equation could become, the rate of change of momentum will be equal to mass into acceleration, right? Mass into acceleration, and which is directly proportional to what? It is directly proportional to the force applied on an object. So we need to, that means if the mass is high, the force will be, we should need to apply a force more. If the acceleration is more, so we need to apply, so the force will be required will be more. So accordingly, the force is directly proportional to mass into the acceleration. So to remove that proportionality signs, we introduced one of the constant, the proportionality constant k, which actually it's a constant which is equals to the 1 according to the configuration or the experiment we have observed. So the final equation will become F is equals to ma. And here the mass is kg, acceleration is meter per second square, right? And for that is equals to Newton. So 1 Newton is the unit force that is applying on a 1 kg of an object to make it an acceleration of 1 meter per second square. So that is force is equals to ma. From the second law of motion, we can conclude that with the help of second law of motion, we can evaluate the amount of force that is being exerted on an object. From the formula, which formula? F is equals to ma formula, we can see that the force is directly proportional to the acceleration. So the acceleration of an object can change depending upon the change in force applied. Force is equal to ma and the unit is equal to kg meter per second square, which is equals to Newton, capital N. So, and because of all these things, the mass and why it is easier to move small car by pushing, not by the large car. As the acceleration produced, it is inversely proportional to the mass of the car. That means F is equals to ma, and if we see the relation between the mass and the acceleration, we can see that if the acceleration is high, the mass needs to be very low. If the mass is very high, the acceleration will be low. They are inversely proportional to each other. So it is easier to move or accelerate a small car having the less mass than a big car having the large mass by the force of push or pull. So that's why we need more force to push a heavy car than the small car, because of this relation that mass is inversely proportional to the acceleration when we apply the force on it. Next, where we find these applications of the second law of motion, you might have observed that when athlete run, they just run from a very large path and they just heap of sand. So to reduce the momentum on a high jumping or other athlete tournaments, so to reduce so that their momentum could not come instantly at zero, they need a heap of sand which is soft and fluid. So less opposing force will act on them and the body of the athlete will not get injured. So that is to reduce the force, not instantly but with a small so that the softness will increase the time, or we can say the frictional force will not apply on that. So that's why we take a heap of sand, soft heap of sand, so that the athlete could not get injured. Second example, you can say see here that what happens if passengers do not wear a seat belt. So according to this, when the car stops suddenly due to an accident or any other reason, the large force will be applied on the body of the passengers because of the large decrease in the momentum. Momentum is the mass into velocity. Velocity will instantly come at the zero, so mass will remain the same, so it will affect it very large. So it can throw the passenger forward violently and it can cause a serious injuries on their head. So to avoid them, passengers need to wear the seat belt. What seat belt does? Seat belt, they reduce the time, or you can say that they help the body to cover that momentum, the instant change in the momentum of an body, and so that it can not cause any injuries or not serious injuries during that position. You can see the related numericals also. The first is question is, what force would be needed to produce an acceleration of 4 meter per second square in a ball of mass 6 kg? We have already given the mass, that is the 6 kg, and acceleration, that is 4 meter per second square. What we need to do? We need to find the force. The force, we know that force is equals to mass into acceleration. Mass and acceleration, mass, if we multiply it, we'll get the answer as 24 Newton. So we get the answer as 24 Newton. Second sample problem, or the other sample problem is, you can see here, calculate the force required to impart to a car a velocity of 30 meter in 10 seconds from starting from the rest. Starting from the rest means the initial velocity will be 0. Final velocity will be 30 meter per second in what time? In 10 seconds. So the mass of the car is already given. The mass is given, that is 1500 kg. What we need to find? We need to find the force. We know that the force is equals to ma, or we can say the m is equals to v minus u upon t. So simply we can put it the formula in these things and we can find out easily the force. Let's see what will be the answer. So mass is 1500, final velocity is 30 meter, initial is 0 and time is 10. So if we counteract things, so what we get the answer as, it's 4500 Newton will be the answer, the force that is required. The other example sample problems you can do by your own, hopefully you will come to know about the applications and the momentum and the second law of motion. So thank you everyone. We are going to learn more about the third law of motion in our next video. Till then, thank you and keep learning everyone.